Hey guys, what's going on? This is Bunny Muffins here with a new guide. We're going to go over Rangers this time. Rangers are completely busted, at least until someone figures out a new composition in 9.18. Obviously, the best composition is Void Assassins with 6 assassins, but that build requires Spatula early along with a BF sword, and you cannot run that composition without getting those. However, Rangers are very easy to force. I forced them twice on my Master Smurf and got first place both times. The entire time I played it today, which is 4 times, I haven't placed below third place, and I got first in 3 of those games. And it doesn't matter how you start. Doesn't matter if you get level 2 Rangers really late. It just wins for some reason. I think it's because you get a lot of items now, and Rangers have very flexible items, as in they can utilize a lot of items to their maximum potential. And I think since there's a lot more items dropping in this patch, along with much more economy in order to level up to level 8 very easily, because that's a power spike for Rangers, it's making this comp completely unstoppable. I'll show you some sample builds, but of course, as with any single guide, you have to take it with a grain of salt and play against your lobby rather than just blindly copying someone's build. So obviously, in the very beginning of the game, you want to get the attack speed bow. The items we want to build with that are static shiv primarily, and then after that, rapid fire cannon. You really only need 1 or 2 static shivs. You don't need much more. In fact, it's just really good because when you build it early, you get to win streak and you get to preserve your health, and health is very important in the late game. So the best start with Rangers is going for Knights. So my favorite, at least, is Garen and Mordekaiser. Where is Mordekaiser over here? We'll drop him right there. Obviously, any 2 Knights will do. If you happen to get Poppy from the champion drops that drop from the minions now, Poppy's very good to play. Who's the other one? Darius is very good to play. And then for the third unit, after 2 Knights, you want to put in a Vayne or whatever you have 2-starred. You don't have to play Vayne right away, but whoever your strongest person is, and if you want to econ on the first round, you could sell everyone, get to 10 gold, and just play these 3 units, and that'd probably be fine. After Vayne, you want to add the second Ranger, or you can go Nobles. You could add like a Lucian here. Lucian here for Nobles over there. I'm actually going to zoom in a bit right now just so you can get a better view of everything. But ideally, you'd sell Lucian later as the game goes on, so you could actually put your items on him. So say you built Static Shiv. Since we don't actually want that on Vayne, we could just plop that right on Lucian because we're going to be selling him later. Other items that you can build, because we don't always get attack speed first in the first carousel. You could go for magic resist to build a dragon's claw, or save it for a Runon's Hurricane. If you get health or ability power, you can get Morellonomicon. Ability power, though, you might want to save for Rageblade, because Rageblade is the best item on Rangers right now in the mid to late game. Spatula is very good too, because you can make Darken, you can make Runon's Hurricane, and you can make Frozen Mallet. This item over here. So there are just a lot of outs with Spatula. Sword. That sword really only goes into Guardian Angel. Nothing really else benefits you that much. So I generally try not to go for swords unless I know I can complete a Guardian Angel. Armor's decently flexible. Obviously, Guardian Angel is the best item. You could save it for Knight's Vow. Oh yeah, that's another Spatula item that's really good on Rangers. So you have 4 good Spatula items. 5 if you include Force and Nature. So that's probably the best item that you have. Hush, you could save item components for that late game, but that's pretty much what you can do with all the items. Rangers can use every single one of them and use them to a really, really big spike. So as we move on to the mid game, we obviously want Varus because he's probably one of the scariest mid game threats that, well, in the game, but definitely for Rangers. So you could eventually move to, say you don't level to level 5 yet, you just drop your Lucian when you find a Varus. I actually wouldn't do that right away because you want to keep the items on Lucian, because ideally you want the items on Ashe. But if you get Ashe at like level 5, you could just go ahead and sell the Lucian and then plop the Static Shiv and Gwinsu's Rage Blade on her. And if you do get the non-attack speed items, you could also put those on Lucian. So let me put them back up there. For example, Guardian Angel and Morella Namicon. Where is that one? That one's over here. Or even Redemption. We could save these for when we get Sejuani and then sell Lucian and then plop all the items on her. Alternatively, if you get a strong 3-star of something completely unrelated, such as like a Nidalee, you could throw all these items on her, or like an Ari, pretty much anything else that you get 2-starred as your designated item holder. But I like Lucian the most because we get the Noble buff. Hey guys, let me know if you have any questions in the comments section down below. Don't forget to also like and subscribe. Let's get back into this. So once we get Ashe into play, this is normally around after the Golem round. I like leveling up pretty quickly, especially if I have Vayne and Mordekaiser level 2 already. Because these two guys are the only ones you really need that are 1 cost to get to level 2. Garen, Darius, those are all optional. You could go 4 knights, but it's that's more of if you're dealt that hand. So something we could do at around like 5 characters is 4 knights, but we don't have to worry about leveling them up too aggressively. Like we don't need Darius or Garen to be level 2, but if we get a Poppy or even an early Sejuani, I would just run 4 knights with 2 rangers, preferably Ashe and Varus. But if Varus is level 1, then I'll throw in the Vayne level 2 over Varus. But this is very strong with the 4 knights, just like this. Not in this position. I normally just put Ashe in the center. You always want Poppy on the sides because of her ult, the way her ult works, and then you want to put someone in the corner to bait Blitzcrank hooks and assassins, because assassins are pretty rampant right now. So you really do need to scout and be careful and adjust your position accordingly. So as we move into level 7, we generally have other items completed now. If we get another Rage Blade, then you pretty much, you're very happy at that point. Ideally, the best item's Runons, but like it's hard to get the spatula because sometimes you might win streak and not get the spatula from the carousel. We might have a Guardian Angel on. If we do get a Guardian Angel, you might as well throw it on Darius because we'll sell him when we get Sejuani. But around this stage, this is like after Wolf Camp, around there. You generally do have around 8 items. If you have run out of space on Ashe, you could throw items on Varus. He's very good at utilizing those as well. So level 7 is always an awkward point for Rangers because you can't get 4 Rangers and you can't get 4 Knights. You'll always have 4 Knights and 3 Rangers, or 4 Rangers and 3 Knights, or 2 Knights and 2 Guardians. Like, you can't fit everything in there. So what I like to do, I like to throw in a Demon to buff up Varus, because Demon buff, it's probably one of the strongest buffs in the game. I mean, you get mana and you steal mana, and most frontliners have huge ultimates, such as Gnar, Kennen, Sejuani. So Demon buff is probably one of the strongest traits in the game right now. So I like to throw in a Demon at level 7. Brand's obviously the preferred one, but you could also use Aatrox, you can use Evelyn. If you get like a 2-star Aatrox or Evelyn, like say the game just hands them to you, I would pick these over Brand, and then just not even go for Brand, just keep up my economy and work the game from there. Maybe at this point you do have Sejuani, and if that is the case, you sell either Garen or Darius, whoever has the item. So since we put the item on Darius this time, we'll sell Darius and plop the GA on Sejuani. Other items that work on Sejuani are items such as mana. Like, I love having Demon buff on Sejuani. That one's this one over here. Redemption is very good. Redemption works very well with GA because it heals her to full health after she dies. Frozen Heart, obviously very good. Phantom Dancer is very useful because it allows her to dodge hushes and gives you a slight boost or slightly higher chance to get her ultimate off. But pretty much any tank item, I would just slap that right on Sejuani. So at level 8, this is around after Wraith Camp. You don't have to follow this guidelines, this leveling guideline step by step. In fact, you shouldn't. You should always do it based on what your health is and what your opponent's health is. So if I'm very low health, I'm going to be capping out at level 7, probably keeping this composition up through the end of the game and just roll down, try to get all my upgrades and work from there. And maybe I'll start saving up once I have everyone here level 2, but apart from that, I'm not touching level 8. But if I do have high health, I do go to level 8 after Wraith Camp, and at that point, hopefully we have Kindred. If not, we try to keep our same demon variant. But say we do hit level 8, we put in Kindred, and then we put back in Vayne, who was sitting on our bench the entire time since the beginning of the game. And this is very strong. Also, I'll show you some possible positioning. So what I like to do is I have Ashe in the middle, right next to Kindred, and then Varus sandwiching them like that. And then I like having Vayne on the side that Ashe is on. So Kindred in the middle, Ashe and Varus hugging Kindred, and then Vayne on the side that Ashe is in. Sometimes I even put a Mordekaiser over here too if I know assassins are going to jump to this corner. After that, if there are no assassins, or you don't really know which corner they're going to hit, or you don't know where Blitzcranks are, you could just be lazy and plop the Mordekaiser over there so that your Varus and Ashe are protected, because Ashe and Varus are your main 2 carries. You also want to keep your Sejuani sandwiched between Garen and Poppy so that there's a chance that they take the demon hits or hush hits instead of Sejuani. If we're running Guardians, so the best Guardian for this composition is Braum and Pantheon. But we can't always get Pantheon, right? So generally you just run Braum Leona if you need the Guardian buff. Times where you need the Guardian buff is if more than, I'd say if more than 60% of the lobby is attack damage, I would run Guardian buff. Or if the game gives you Guardian buff for free and there's like half the lobby's attack damage. But obviously we can't always get Pantheon, so you normally run Braum and Leona. However, one trick with Pantheon is with Nico's help. You could sometimes cheese level 2 Pantheon if you get 2 of them along with Nico's help. So that's like a nice little tactic that you can use to pretty much auto win games with Pantheon too. I'll show you some positionings with Leona, or sorry, with Guardians. So with Guardians, we take out Poppy and we take out Garen because we need the Frozen buff from Sejuani and the Phantom buff from Kindred. So one sampled positioning that you could do is the clump or the encirclement position. So what you want to do, you want to double buff Sejuani and Kindred because those are your most important people that you want kept alive. And then you put Varus in this corner over here, Ashe on the bottom, and Vayne in the corner there. Reason why you want Vayne there is because if Blitz is in the meta, you want Vayne to get hooked, and her getting stuck and not attacking anything because everyone's out of range isn't a big deal because she really doesn't do much. However, if you know there are no Blitzcranks, I would position like this. The reason why I don't like Ashe in the corner is because sometimes when enemies set up on the top right side, she doesn't reach that side all the way, so she has to walk over here, and that messes up the Kindred positioning. That's why I like this setup the most. Another thing you can do is put Mordekaiser in the corner over here so that he can bait out some assassins. I'll show you the setup on the side over here. You always want Braum towards the center because his shield can block a lot of attacks on your Ashe and your Varus. So something that you could do is position like this. when I'm over here, I like leaving Vayne in the corner instead of Mordekaiser, because if they have like an Aurelion Soul, Aurelion Soul can sometimes just shoot Vayne, or like a Brand on the top right corner can shoot Vayne. A lot of people can just blow their spells on Vayne, and it's nice. It's a nice like RNG trick that you can utilize for your advantage. But that's pretty much it for the positioning. If you are pushing level 9, obviously you want Pantheon. You could throw in level 2 Kale for 4 Knights again. Or what I like to do, maybe just add another Demon to get the Demon buff back, or add 4th Glacial with Anivia. Demon buff is probably better than 4 Glacials. And if you have 4 Knights, you can't get to 4 Glacials, so you have to put in a Demon anyways. But that's how I like to finish off this comp. You could put your the secondary damage items from Dragon and Rift Herald, you could put on either Kindred or Varus. You could also put survivability on Kindred, though if there's a lot of Hex Tech, I try to avoid putting items on Kindred, but if there are none, I love putting Kindred with Frozen Mallet. I love putting Darken on her. Pretty much any item with survivability or something with mana to get her to ult faster is really, really good with your team, because what ends up happening every fight is Kindred and Ashe get attacked, Kindred ults, and then Ashe, throughout the entire Kindred ult duration, stacks up her Rage Blade, and then she solos everyone on the enemy team. So that's pretty much a quick rundown of the Ranger, of how to play Rangers in 9.18. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section down below. But this is such a strong composition so far. No one's figured out how to really play a better composition, so I feel like everyone defaults to Rangers in new patches. But until someone figures out a broken OP comp, I would play Rangers every single game. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.